My next guest, he's the former Attorney General for the great state of Kansas, here now to provide us with a little bit more insight on all this election fiasco. Phill Kline, welcome to Real America. Hello, Mr. Kline, how are you?
I am doing well. Thank you for having me on.
We appreciate your time. I know you're probably a busy guy right now doing other interviews and whatnot with all this legal mess that is now mounting and mounting in several states. Good thing is I can't remember any time in our history where Kansas was in the middle of a fiasco like this. Can you?
Well, every once in a while our basketball team is in the middle of things,
okay.
but we're mighty proud of it. But otherwise, no.
No, your elections usually go pretty smoothly, right?
For a century or so.
There we go. Well, it's not the case in Michigan, in Pennsylvania, in Arizona, and Nevada. So as a lawyer and the former Attorney General of a state, and now you have the legal team on the Trump side mounting up, what can we expect with these court battles? Because I know that each state has different rules about when the count has to be in, and then when you can ask for a recount, and when you can then sue and take it to this court, in the highest land. So fill us in.
Well, let me tell you about a lawsuit that we initiated in Pennsylvania on behalf of our clients, where we just obtained a court order that applies statewide just hours ago that orders the Secretary of State, against her wishes, by the way, to segregate tens of thousands of ballots that had questionable treatment so that they could be counted separately. Now, that means that those ballots are going to take about 5 to 15 days to move through. And the law allows that process, and that court order ordered the Secretary of State to send that order statewide. Because what you had is Democrats treating Democrat voters in Democrat stronghold cities differently than out in Republican areas. They were allowing in Democrat strongholds voters to come in. The party, they would, if they had a flawed ballot, they'd give the flawed ballot to a party official who would go find the voter to come back in and figure out how to cast that ballot. They didn't do that in Republican counties.
Wow.
So that issue, that's tens of thousands of ballots now that a judge has ordered statewide, we've got to stop. We've got to make sure that this process is done right. Hooray for the judge. We've got the rule of law here that has been flaunted by Democrat officials in Philadelphia, as well as in Detroit, Michigan, that we have litigation and efforts going forward right now. Now, let me try to explain. Everybody is saying, and I'm sure you know this, where's the evidence? Well, the evidence is back there in the halls that they're not allowing us to see. You have the party that is engaged in questionable conduct that is saying, look, we're going to violate the law. We're not allowing you to see. But trust us, everything's okay back here.
Right.
Well, I've never prosecuted, and I was an attorney general, I was a district attorney. Any defendant who didn't say, trust me, I did nothing wrong, so stop investigating. Yeah. Now, when you have officials say, we admit we're violating the law and not letting you look, you better look. You don't stop. So America needs to take a deep breath. What we have going on is we have a legal process that has time so that we can get to the truth. There's no need to declare a winner today. We don't seat electors until December. So that gives time for us to throw out the red flag and say, pause, let the replay official take a look at the play to make sure there wasn't a penalty. And what the other side's trying to do is rush up to the ball and get the next play off.
Yeah. And Phill, don't forget, and the media is complicit with it, and they think Absolutely. They get to call the election. And so what's going to happen here is the mainstream media in the next day or so, or Sunday, Monday, when they get Nevada numbers in, or Arizona like they're claiming they may, they're going to declare a winner. That then I think is going to cause even more civil unrest, because people are going to think on the left, my guy won. And on the right, they're going to be upset, my guy didn't lose, or maybe they will say, my guy lost. And they're going to cause more of a civil discourse divide and maybe even a small civil war in certain cities around this country, because the media will play up to that. And as you said, we have to wait for this to pan out in the courts and see what happens with these votes that are questionable. And as you and I will remember, Phill, because we're old enough, but the world's changed in 20 years. It was, 41 days back in 2000 when we waited to figure out what was going to go on with the hanging chads in Florida, right?
That's right. That's right. And you are absolutely right about the media. And let me offer you one other point that happened in this election that is unprecedented as it relates to the flow of information. If you want to influence a country, you control the flow of information. Facebook, right? Twitter, mainstream media. and you also control the way a nation elects its leaders. Mark Zuckerberg poured $400 million into this election, into Democrat stronghold cities to tell them how to run the election. His monies through a charity actually are paying the salaries of election judges in Philadelphia.
Wow. Okay, I'm going to remain calm because you told me to, Phill. I'm going to take a deep breath because you told us to. But we have got to stand up. We have got to fight. We cannot let this one go. There is way too much at stake. Phill Kline, we appreciate you coming on the show. Former Kansas Attorney General. Great insight into the legalities of what's happening. And I love that you told us all to just take a break and wait, because this could be, it is going to be several weeks out while we let it go through. It should be, while it goes through the proper judicial channels. Ken, thank you so much. Enjoy your weekend, Phill. Be safe, okay?
All right.
Coming up after the break, there are reporters crisscrossing this country right now trying to get to the bottom of what's actually going on with this election. We're going to be joined by one of them. He's the conservative online writer for the publication, you might know it, The Federalist. Don't go away.